Okay, right here.
You're good where you are. You're good where you are. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to have you here. So we're going to be talking today about B6 and depression and just some other really interesting information. And my name is Jessica McLeese. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I have Kim here with me. She's a registered dietitian. So while we're on tonight, one of us will be talking, and the other will be in the chat room answering any questions you have and just addressing any concerns you have. So please feel free to start using that chat right now. And Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm just typing a quick hi everyone and welcome. Making sure I'm on the right page. I just clicked off of where we were.
I see it. You know what, Kim? I think yours is just coming to me. So just check that because I think just me as admin got it. So hi everybody. You can say hello if you're here. Kim, I think if you just pull up the little white TV screen with the red lightning bolt, you should be able to talk to everybody.
Oh, okay. I was clicking on the wrong. There we are.
As you see, guys, this is live. This is really happening right now as we speak. We're doing a little troubleshooting. But we welcome your questions. We love your questions. It's more fun if you interact with us, so please do. And now that we have the chat worked out, Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
All right. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Kim Lukard. I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm so happy to be here to talk to you about food and mood. And tonight we are highlighting vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 is one of my favorite, if not my favorite vitamin, if I can sound kind of geekish about my nutrition. Before I get going, I want to just talk to you. I'm looking at my notes over here. I'm not staring straight at the screen. I want to tell you about enzymes, because vitamins are coenzymes, and that means they help enzymes make their reaction go forward. That's a team effort. So maybe you remember, I don't know if you can see this or not, it's a lock and key. So at school, at ECU, I always explain that the key is your enzyme. And when your enzyme goes into the reaction being your lock is unlocked, the reaction moves forward. And when the enzyme comes out, it's unchanged. Well, vitamins attach themselves to enzymes and go into reaction and make it go forward. So to give you something concrete, if you think about your kitchen, for example, you've got the eye of your stove can be your enzyme. And then the heat is the coenzyme. So the eye of the stove, you put your frying pan on and you have to have your heat. So those two are working together, like the enzyme and the coenzyme. And when you put your food in it, like an egg, and you want to fry it or cook it or scramble it, the reaction takes place, but the stove eye hasn't changed and the frying pan hasn't changed. So I don't know if that helped or not, but to try to give a little bit of a concrete example of what a coenzyme is and how important they are in our body. B6 actually participates in over 100 reactions in our body. It is a water-soluble vitamin, so that means we need to replenish it every day. I want to highlight some of the jobs that B6 does. Now, like I said, there's over 100, but these are extremely important. Well, they're all extremely important, but the first one I want to highlight is vitamin B6 is needed by your body to make the hemoglobin in your red blood cells. So if you don't have enough vitamin B6 in your diet, you might not be making enough hemoglobin. And sometimes if you're feeling run down, you may have anemia. And it might not be from an iron deficiency. It might be from a vitamin B6 deficiency, because that can be one of the anemias. And if you're feeling run down, your energy is definitely impacted. B6 is also important in helping to make your white blood cells too, so keeping you from getting sick. Those are your little fighters in your bloodstream. So you've got your red blood cells, the hemoglobin that's B6 is being used for, and your white blood cells. Some of you may have heard that B6 could be linked to depression. Not having enough B6 can be linked to depression. That might be because vitamin B6 is needed by your body to make neurotransmitters. And one of the neurotransmitters it makes is serotonin. It actually helps the amino acid tryptophan convert to serotonin. And serotonin is the one that is majorly linked with depression. A lot of the Paxil and Prozac and Zoloft antidepressant medicines target that serotonin neurotransmitter. And in addition, vitamin B6 aids in converting food into energy. So when you eat your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats, those are all yummy foods, depending on what foods you choose to eat them. Maybe it's a hamburger, maybe it's ice cream, bananas, a baked potato. But your body takes all that food and converts it into energy, and B6 is helpful in that pathway. Now, how would you know if you had a deficiency? Well, some signs of a deficiency of vitamin B6 are depression. That could be number one. Headaches. Now, many other things cause these, but depression, headaches, and confusion might lead you to think, how's my diet been? Have I been eating enough foods that are rich in vitamin B6? Now, in our country, a B6 deficiency is pretty rare, like a full-blown deficiency, because B6 is very prevalent in many different foods, as you'll see in just a minute. However, you may have a borderline deficiency whereby, you're running really fast day to day, you're just grabbing food to eat, you're not grabbing the most nutritious foods, and so you're feeding yourself, but you're not nourishing yourself. And sometimes in the long run, that can result in some borderline deficiencies that you may have. So if you're starting to experience the blues more often than you want to, look at what you're eating. And I'm going to let Jessica pop back in and talk about some of the different types of depression that you need to be aware of.
All right. Thank you, Kim, for that introduction. So we already know that B6, you can probably not have a deficiency, or at least not a severe deficiency if you're living in the States, but you can have a partial deficiency, or what would be a borderline deficiency. So your levels are suitable maybe, but not at the level where they should be. So that borderline deficiency is kind of what we're looking at tonight, even talking with depression. So you can start to feel those symptoms of depression. So depression comes in many forms, and a lot of times when people hear depression, they automatically think, suicidal, I can't get out of bed, and that's what they consider depression. And in fact, many people, if they're just kind of having the blues or having a little bit of a low mood, they won't consider that depression at all, because society has told us so much about depression that we expect you either have deep, major depression or you just don't have it at all. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. And major depression, you do have things like suicidality typically, maybe not eating at all or eating all the time, not sleeping at all or sleeping all the time. So all of those things can happen, even though they seem very opposite. Those things can all come together when you're having major depression. And so there's that kind of depression, and then there's something that's more situational depression. So you have a loss in your family, and of course you're going to go a few days feeling pretty down in your spirit for that. Or maybe you have job loss, or you have a big move, you have a lot of stress. All of these things would be considered situational depression. So kind of a normal thing that we expect when life throws us a curveball. And then we have this other one that's kind of in the middle of those, that's called dysthymia. And what it basically means is you have the blues, like Kim was just talking about. I like to describe it as having a bad mood most of the time, and you can't really shake it or figure out why. So it's kind of like having a bad day every day. So you know that you don't feel great, but you don't necessarily know why. This is a time when B6 would be very relevant for you, and more so the foods that you eat. So as Kim has mentioned before, we can get those foods from vitamins, or we can get those nutrients from vitamins and supplements, but then you have to worry about toxic overload and toxicity, and I'll let Kim talk about that part. But you can get it through your food, and you're not going to overdose on your food. So food is a really safe way to get those vitamins into your body and take care of your health that way. So I'm going to turn it back to Kim just to talk about that part, that toxic overload, and then we'll talk a little bit at the end of some behavioral strategies to use along with any depression that you might be feeling.
All right, along with the maybe not having enough vitamin B6, one of the things people wonder is, am I doing anything that could be impacting my body's ability to keep all the vitamin B6 that it needs? And because it is a water-soluble vitamin, drinking alcohol each day can deplete your stores of vitamin B6. And this happens because when alcohol is broken down in your body, acetaldehyde is one of the byproducts. And the acetaldehyde breaks the vitamin B6 free from its enzyme, so the enzyme is lost. So the coenzyme and the enzyme, they don't like each other anymore, and the alcohol has caused the B6 to go away. So if you do like your glass of wine at night, 4 ounces hopefully, and 1 for women, 2 for men, if you're drinking, if you're trying to stick with moderation, then you want to make sure that you're loading your diet up with foods that are very high in vitamin B6. And these would be spinach, potatoes, bananas, and chicken and salmon, and some peanut butter. So those foods are very rich in vitamin B6. As Jessica said, with your food, you do not have to worry about becoming toxic. You can eat all the foods you want. You're not going to get toxic. When you look at the vitamins and minerals, where you can become toxic is if you're just, taking supplements too often and too much. And the Institute of Medicine has established an upper limit for vitamin B6 at 100 milligrams. So you don't want to necessarily go over 100 milligrams unless you have the guidance of an MD and a whole team of holistic people working with you. Vitamin B6, even though it's water soluble, is one of the most toxic, and it can cause neurological damage. So that's in high doses. That's why that 100 milligram upper limit has been set. To give you an example of actually what you need, what the RDA is for adults, it's 1.3 to 1.7 milligrams a day. And so if you are including bananas, say maybe in yogurt or in a smoothie, on a sandwich, a peanut butter and banana sandwich, or on your cereal, then you are getting a good amount of B6. And you add some spinach with your chicken and your salmon. You could eat all of those foods every day, and your body would be getting a hefty dose of the happy vitamin B6. I know. Can I go ahead and tell them about the bonuses that we'll be sending?
Yeah, do so.
Jessica and I each created a bonus video that you'll be receiving because you registered, and I created a delicious smoothie recipe that is very high in vitamin B6, and I hope you enjoy it. I won't tell you anything about it. You'll have to watch the video and maybe try the smoothie on your own. So I like to say a banana a day keeps the blues away.
So just tell me this one thing, Kim. You've given us a smoothie recipe, and one of the things you mentioned was salmon is high in B6. There's not going to be salmon in the smoothie, right? No. Gosh, that reminds me of episodes of Saturday Night Live when they blended up with fish. No, there's no animal products in it whatsoever. It's actually totally a vegan smoothie, but it's very, very good. I'm kidding, of course. I got to see the smoothie already, so. But yeah, no fish in the smoothie. So the bonus that I'm going to be giving you guys is just a few tips on what to do if you're feeling depressed. So I want to let you know, first of all, if you're feeling depressed to the point where you're feeling suicidal, please understand that diet and nutrition is incredibly helpful, and you need to do that. But as far as that concern of feeling suicidal, you can't expect that diet is going to take that away. That's usually because there's deeper things going on than just a vitamin deficiency. So please know that if you are feeling suicidal, seek help. There's crisis lines that you can get to. There's help online for crisis situations and suicidality. So please be aware of that, and don't just try to use diet. However, if you're not in that place where you're feeling that deeply depressed, I've got some tips for you. So I'm sending 3 in your video. It's a short little video, about 5 minutes long. I don't think it's even that long, actually, where I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can implement right away. So this isn't something that'll work 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road. It really is something that you can implement right away and start right now and begin feeling the effects of. So I want to encourage you, though, if depression has been hitting you for a while, or if it's something that you haven't been able to shake, even with a proper diet, definitely seek some help. Counseling is not a place that people go when they're crazy. It's that term, but people say it all the time. But it's a problem-solving place. So if you're in a place in your life where you need help, please do seek out some help. Help is available to you. So, Kim, is there any final words that you want to add about B6?
I think just realizing and remembering that even though it is a water-soluble vitamin and we need it on a daily basis, not to go crazy with the supplements, because, that's one thing that I stress with my students. Just because it's good for you doesn't mean that it can't harm you if you're not being careful. So really looking at your foods, and if you want to be a vegetarian, you don't have to have the chicken and the salmon. There's the fortified cereals, and you can put almond milk on it. And like I said, spinach, bananas, and potatoes, just to highlight the foods that are quite rich in B6. Definitely, those aren't the only ones, but those are the ones that I wanted to highlight for tonight. I think that's about it. And remembering that because it is water soluble, anything that we are putting in our body that's making us not pee out, but the wine and any kind of spirits, alcohol can deplete your vitamin B6 stores. So on a daily basis, if you're finding the need to have your alcoholic beverage, if it's one, fine, and you've got a wonderful diet, you might not feel the effects of the blues or the dysthymia that Jessica was talking about. But if you are finding that, stressors have gotten the better of you, and you're having, 1, 2, 3 drinks every single night, then your vitamin B6 levels could be impacted by that. And that's going to impact your happiness in the long run. So, take a look at your overall diet and your lifestyle if you need to.
And one of the last things I want to add, so when we were doing our research for B6, one of the pretty interesting findings that we found is that B6 can actually be helpful for PMS symptoms as well. So, it's interesting. Women are more likely to suffer from depression than men are. It's something about our physical makeup, and it's the way our brain patterns work. So men can typically think of a subject and kind of get off of it later if it's bothering them. They can do something to distract themselves. So it's a strength that men have that women often envy. That does not mean that men can't be depressed, by the way. Men have high depression rates as well. Women just have higher rates. So women can feel that depression around PMS time as well, and it can really impact them when they're closer to their cycle. And so B6 has been shown to be effective for that as well. So again, we're not talking about loading up on supplements when you're getting close to your cycle or when you feel depression, but eating certain foods. So all those foods that Kim just mentioned, the smoothie that she's going to be sending you would be a great PMS smoothie that you can drink during that time to help get rid of those symptoms, or help decrease the symptoms at the very least. So again, we're all about health, and we've talked about this before on our webinars, but just as a reminder, your body is an entire organism. It's one whole piece, all working together. So when we're talking about things like depression and nutrition is a huge, huge part of that. It impacts not only your internal workings inside your body, but it actually really impacts the brain as well. And then your thought life is really important also, as are your social relationships and what you do with other people. So if you're in relationships with people that are making your life difficult, examine those relationships, see if they're where you really need to be. And then also, if you're noticing that your thought life is centered on more negative things, and you're having a hard time getting out of that cycle, I would encourage you to work on that as well. One thing that we know about depression is part of the reason it gets a hold on you is because there's this idea that it'll never get better. So people that are suffering from depression often believe that they're in a situation that can never change. Nothing they do will make it better. But what I want to tell you is you can have control of your health and of your thought life. And Kim and I are on a journey to help you do that through greater nutrition, through exercise, and through proper thinking about yourself and about your situations. So we do want you to know that we're here for you, and we have some exciting things coming. If you've gained something from this webinar, I would love for you to share it with other people so that they can get some good information as well. And when they register to watch it, even though they're not here live, they will also get those free gifts sent to them with the video that we've been talking about with the smoothie recipes and with the 3 tips. So I definitely encourage you to share it with anyone that might benefit from it, and definitely keep up with us and join our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Food and Mood, and so join it. And Kim, if you can add that link, if not, I'll add it in just a second when you're when you're speaking again. But we'll add that link so that on the replay, it'll be available to you, and you can click on our page and join us. You're going to learn about all the webinars that are coming out, and we have an incredible program that we're going to be releasing soon that you're going to want to be a part of. It's just going to be a fascinating program. You'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn a lot about proper diet, and you're going to learn about really just a host of different mental health issues that can be resolved with proper diet and with making some lifestyle changes, which is what we're really all about. So we're starting here right now with depression because it's a common one, but we're going to grow from here and teach you guys a lot more so that you can live a life that you want to live and that you can have your best life yet. So Facebook page is now available in the chat. You can click right on that even during the replay. You'll be taken straight there. It's going to invite you to the group, so it'll say that you've requested to invite. We promise you we're going to welcome you in. Part of why we have you ask for an invitation like that is just so we can say a little thank you to you and let you know that we're excited to have you here. So that's a good thing when you see that you've been invited. We are going to bring you in. Any final thoughts that you'd like to express, Kim?
I was just wondering if we want to give them a heads up on what we're planning for next Wednesday.
I think that's a good idea.
All right. Well, next Wednesday, because we're getting closer to the time change, we're going to be talking about vitamin D and how it can impact your mood and energy. Once again, there are so many things that we put in our body that can work for us or work against us. And with the seasons changing, winter's coming and we've got the snow on the way. For those of us that like the colder weather, feel snugly by the fire, maybe make some s'mores on the inside your home. But we have less sunshine. And we already spend so much time indoors that learning about vitamin D and what it does for us and how you can ensure that you're getting enough vitamin D is very, very important. So that's just a little highlight about next week.
And by the way, you may be a little shocked to find out how many people statistically are low in vitamin D, and we're going to be sharing that with you soon. And you might also be surprised how many mental health illnesses and diseases where vitamin D is implicated in that. So I think that might be kind of mind-blowing for you. Also, you might find that you know a lot of people that are impacted by vitamin D. All right, well, thank you so much for being a part of this, guys. We sure appreciate you. There's a little bit more time here if you have anything that you want to put into the chat box real quick. We'd be glad to answer any questions you have. But we are excited about bringing you this information. It's gonna grow. There's gonna be a lot more information that we give you. So we'll have these videos available for. I think we said this one's gonna be unlimited, and so you'll be able to view this one at any time and share it with others. Some of our webinars will be time limited, and we'll let you know about that when that's the case. But some of them will be limited to just a few days. Just because we have a lot of information to give you guys and we don't want it to be too overwhelming.
And Jessica, I wanted to ask, I know sometimes when we have a webinar, they can write in questions when they're watching the replay. Will they be able to do that with this replay?
Absolutely, you sure can. That is set up. So if you are a replay viewer, you'll actually see in your chat box, it'll say, ask us a question. So we're not trying to trick you and make you think we're live. You can ask questions at any point, and what will happen is we'll get an email directly into our box letting us know of your question and whatever that question might be, and we will get an answer to you absolutely as quickly as we can so that you'll have any questions that you do have answered.
Good, because I know that this time is a dinner time for people, homework time. Maybe people are worked over or have a different shift. Maybe they're working 11 to 8 or last minute project they have to get out, so they'll be watching the replay. And so when questions come up, I just wanted to make sure that they knew that they could ask us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I watch plenty of replays, so I definitely understand that it's important to have the replay available to you. Well, guys, we sure do thank you, and we look forward to working with you more in the future. Stay tuned for Vitamin D. I think you're going to love it.
Bye-bye.